Hello and welcome everybody to a brand new episode of OBS Plays. The full spoiler just dropped for Shadows over Innistrad, and I wanted to go over a set review for the cards. So this is the first video. We're going over the white cards today, talking about what they're going to be doing in draft, sealed, and standard, possibly modern, sometimes EDH. Not going to take forever, so let's get right into it. First card we're going to do are the Mythics. So we're going to start with Avacyn right up. Archangel Avacyn. She is basically the new standard for where you're going to put creatures at in standard going forward. She is a 5-mana, flash, 4/4 flying, vigilance, angel. Excuse my throat, people. I've come down with something today. When she enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain indestructible till end of turn. So including her, or if she is just the only creature you end up playing that turn or have in play, she gains indestructible. She can block something, kill it, untap, and then she's 4/4 vigilance, flying. So this is kind of where your creatures need to be at power level wise if you want to be playing them now at 5 mana. There's all kinds of tricks you can do with her by, having a relevant creature that you need to protect. You can block in combat and give indestructible before, after, when they target it with a spell. Basically to set you up with the most value. She flips into Avacyn the Purifier when any non-angel creature you control dies. The next upkeep she'll flip. And then when she does flip, she turns into a 6/5 flyer. That is a red card. And when she transforms, she deals 3 damage to each other creature and each opponent. So that's a huge ability. That's a lot of damage to their creature. It's going to wipe all the small guys off their board, hit all of your opponents in the face for 3, and kind of set up you ending the game. So this is basically the chase mythic of the set. It's kind of hard to talk about the card because it's so good that it's all right, this is where everything is at, and this is how where your cards need to be at. She'll fit into some strategies that are kind of out there right now, but everything's going to be shifting after everything rotates. I'm not sure what deck she's going to fit into. Basically anything that you can squeeze her into that has creatures, you're going to enjoy this. Very aggressive decks can play her, control decks, the whole thing. She won't go down in value, I don't think, so I would pick them up and hold on to your Avacyns. They're great. If you get one of the pre-release, congratulations. Play it well, enjoy it, have fun with it, take care of it. Descend upon the Sinful. 6 mana, sorcery, exile all creatures. If you have Delirium when you play it, you do get a 4/4 white flying angel token. Above the cries, a phrase ring out. You will be saved. It's a mythic. It's a mythic Wrath of God that exiles all creatures. It's a final judgment, as you can see down here. It's similar to that. It's that card plus an angel, actually. If you have Delirium, this card's very good. This is going to be what control decks are playing to set this up. They will set up the angel every time on 6 mana and wrap the board against any deck that's spamming the board with creatures. So be wary of that going into the new standard season. If your opponent seems to be holding back in limited and they are playing white, it's possible they have this. It's a mythic, so there aren't going to be going around very often at all. If you end up opening this, you probably should play it. If you have some sort of control strategy in white, it will work out for you in the end. But if you don't have the control deck, then don't go for it. Just kind of play your aggressive good cards and maybe keep this as an emergency trigger if you play against, a deck that's a lot of green creatures, a lot of red creatures, stuff like that you can't deal with. Odric. 3/3 for 4, legendary human soldier. He's rare. At the beginning of each combat, creatures you control gain first strike until end of turn if a creature you control has first strike. The same is true for flying, death touch, double strike, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, skulk, and trample. Oh, and vigilance, excuse me. This is basically just a fun EDH play around me card. You'll slam this in limited, it'll be fun. Your guys will be flying in first strikey and maybe skulk, all of them. That would be kind of cool. He's an all-around very impressive creature for what he does, and it's a rarity. You won't see him in standard, I don't think. I don't think he's good enough to get there. He would need an extra point of power or toughness, or maybe an ability innate in him to kind of immediately build off of. You know, he's kind of cool because even if he doesn't attack that first combat, he still triggers all your guys onto each other. But even that's just okay. You know, it's just like you're already swarming the board, so you're kind of putting up that risk, and if your payout isn't that good, then he's just okay. So, play him in Limited, first pick him, he's great. In Standard, not so much. Nahiri's Machinations. Enchantment for 2, white and colorless, uncommon. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. And for red and colorless, you may do Nahiri's Machinations, deal 1 damage to target blocking creature. Sorin, I'm going to take everything from you. Keep in mind, it does not have to be the blocking creature that is blocking the indestructible guy. You may ping anything that you want that is blocking, even your own guys, if for some reason you should want to do that. Or need to kill a thing. I don't know, maybe it could come up, who knows. This card's actually super good. If you're in just white, it's not as good. Maybe if you're in white and green, you could, but your guys are already big enough, they're not going to die anyway, so... the red really sets it off where they're just not going to be able to deal with your attacking creatures ever, and even the non-indestructible ones will get through, and you'll ping out all the other things that might survive either way. And so this card's going to be very good in Limited. You could even see possibly pushed into a sideboard in Standard if creature mirrors happen. You could possibly kind of push through with this, but I don't really think so. Limited, pick this up like third, maybe like fourth pick to like seventh pick, and you'll be good to go. They'll go around because the fact that they're 2 colors for their effectiveness means that the people playing that deck is going to be a little bit limited, so you're more likely to actually scoop it up. Declaration in Stone. 2 mana, white and a colorless. For a rare sorcery, exile target creature and all other creatures its controller controls with the same name as that creature. That player investigates for each non-token creature exiled this way. The message was clear to Sorin. Nahiri had paid Markov Manor a visit. So this is similar to, these cards down here where they remove your guy like Guild, but they give you something, they give the person who got their creature remove something in return. In this case, they get a clue for each creature exiled. Non-token ones, keep in mind too. So if you do wipe tokens, I didn't actually realize that. So if you do wipe a field of tokens, it's free. So that actually makes me feel a little bit better about this card. A bunch of wolf tokens or soldier tokens or whatever, and then that's just a free all removal, and they're all good exile. It also will, exile a big thing, and they get a clue, which in Limited I think is great. Like, I still think this is first pickable in Limited. It's 2 mana, exile a creature, and you get a clue. Great. So you have a 7/7 that needs to be exiled because it keeps returning, and this is what's going to do it. So I think it's perfectly great in Limited. I think it will be played in Standard. In control decks, like control decks do not mind aggro decks drawing extra cards because they're just going to value them out anyway. So, your creature that was kind of hard to deal with because it did something when it died, or it's just kind of hard to, remove in general, or it comes back in the graveyard like the zombies, like the 2/2 zombie guys that are coming around now that will, those will get exiled and they will go away forever. And that's what this card's going to be used for. Because people are going to swarm the board with multiple of the zombies to abuse the abilities of them bringing each other back, but then you get hit with the Declaration in Stone, you get double exiled, it's not great. So so if we're pick this in Limited, Standard, you should be able to see this in Standard coming soon. Talia's Lieutenant, 2 mana, white and a colorless for a human soldier 1/1. When Thalia's Lieutenant enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each other human you control. When another human enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Thalia's Lieutenant. This card's really good, but it's in a weird spot where you want to play it early, but it's kind of risky to put your 2-drop on something so vulnerable that could get killed, and then it's like it lets you play it early or late, right? Because you can stack all the counters on your team, and then he's not going to grow very much after that. Or you can put him down early. He might grow 1 guy or 0 guys, and then he's basically this champion of the Parrish for 2 mana if he didn't grow any guys when he came into play. So he's kind of a fixed champion of the Parrish. That being said, champion was ridiculous, but being 1 mana is a big difference than 2 mana. So he's close. Like, if there is a human deck, he will go into it and he will be great in it. But if there is not, then there won't be. So that's basically where that goes. In limited, yeah, this guy's the bomb. You want to snap this guy in limited every time. He will grow your team and run them over, and he will fit into the white-green humans, white-red humans. Yeah, just fine. White-black humans, I'm sorry about that. I forgot about that one. There's 3 main decks for drafting. I should have gone over those for when you start in white. It'll be the white-blue spirits, and that's kind of a dirtily controlled deck where you're blocking the ground. You're going to fly over, typical like a blue-white skies deck. There's going to be the white-black human token sacrifice kind of deck where you're making little 1/1s and then draining them out with value of, like, you know, they lose 1, you gain 1 kind of thing. There's the white-red deck, which is a very aggressive attack you, menace, first strikey, put humans and things into play and, you know, pump my team, attack you, direct damage deck. He kills them very quickly. And then there's the white-green, which is kind of a dirtily... you can play it both ways. There's an aggressive build, and then there's a bigger monster build you could do. So that can go both ways. So I should have gone over those at the beginning. Sorry, guys. Spectral Shepherd. Here's something that goes right into the spirit deck. 2/2 flying for 3. 1 white and 2 colorless. Uncommon. You will not see very many of these. This is a very good creature. He has 2 mana, a blue and a colorless. Return target spirit you control to its owner's hand. The restless geist of common folk often continue their lifelong labors. You can see his skeletal sheep with his little skeletal sheepdog, and he's, you know, he's shepherding from the ghost realm, basically. This card's really good. You know, in spirits, having 2 mana bounce your guys, you know, protect your guys in play will disrupt what your opponent's plans are. It will not make life great for them. This could literally not have that ability and still be playable, not at uncommon, but, you know, good enough. Yeah, like, this card's great. You're going to want to play this in every spirit deck that you ever draft, and you will never be sorry. That's really all I gotta say about that. You can never have too many of these in a spirit deck. Maybe like 10, but, you know, that's still... I probably would still draft 10 of those. And speaking of drafting 10 cards, Doppelgeist. I would draft so many of this card that it would make my head spin. Doppelgeist has the most wonderful art I've seen in a long time and is a beautifully designed card. It's a little overpowered in my opinion. You need the Delirium Enabler, but this card is a bomb. Don't get me wrong. 1/1 flying for 1. It will tap a guy when it comes into play just to kind of give you that 1 tempo, get that extra swing in. If you're playing spirits, you could fly in that extra damage. You know, what have you. If you're playing the red aggressive deck, I think it fits really well in actually the red-white aggressive deck here. You're going to be able to trigger Delirium really well. So it's red-white and red-blue, or white-blue really, and white-red, I should say. Those are the decks you're going to be able to trigger Delirium very easily. And he taps a guy on their upkeep every turn when you have that, which is absolutely nuts. That's basically like... I mean, you're looking at a creature that basically is the best removal in the set consistently every turn. So, don't pass this card. If you see this, you should draft it, and draft as many as you can, and build Delirium. And I promise you, as long as you don't get them double-shotted with that red card, this will win the draft for you. They can't deal with a spirit hitting them every turn while you're tapping down all their guys. Like, you will just win the game through your other creatures or through this just locking them down. Okay. Doppelgeist, A+. Also the art, phenomenal. Vessel of Ephemera. It's an enchantment for white and colorless. It has 3 mana, white and 2 colorless. Sacrifice Vessel of Ephemera. Put 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying into the battlefield. Geist seeking redemption must first be given the opportunity. You must break them out of their snow globe if you want the killer from Scream or the 2 killers from Scream to fix what they've done apparently. This card is just okay. It's your Delirium Enabler, so you will pick it up if you have like those couple guys, like we said, and you really want to trigger Delirium. It's just very expensive for what it does. Like, it's 5 mana for 2 1/1 flyers, which is just okay. I mean, it's not good, actually. You should probably be paying no more than 3.5 mana for that, right? But you're putting the enchantment in the graveyard, so they're saying that's worth 1.5 mana. Who's to say? It could be. If you have enough Delirium, it is, but if not, it's not. So that's where you need to draw the line. If you do not have Delirium, you should not be playing Vessel of Ephemera. There's just no reason for it. If you don't have, I would say, if you don't have more than 5, if you have less than 5 cards with Delirium, this is not worth playing. Alright, Homeward Militia Captain. I don't see a lot of people talking about this card. I don't think this is actually nuts. This is a 2-mana 2/2, Human Soldier, rare and white and colorless. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 4 or more creatures, transform Homeward Militia Captain. Her reputation inspires both loyalty and adoration. She transforms into Westvale Cult Leader. It's kind of scary, actually. Cult Leader's power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control, including herself, obviously, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you put a 1/1 white and black human cleric creature token in the battlefield. And the fact that it's at the end of your end step, and she flips on your upkeep, is very, very, very good. The fact that she's 2 mana, and she can take over the game, it is going to push this card to be in standard playable status, in my opinion. The new kind of save your guys from Wrath of God at 3 mana, we'll get to that in a second, will keep this card alive and your other creatures so that they just kind of continue to be a presence. You're not going to feel bad about swarming the board, because that's what this deck, Wizards wants you to stop feeling bad about that, and is finally giving you the tools to actually, build a deck where you can do that and play White Weenie and not feel bad about getting Wrath, because you're going to be able to counter it. This card is nuts. Any White Weenie player is, thanking Wizards on their hands and knees for this card, as they usually do. She will flip, and she will be a monster, and she will crush. If you're playing limited, you pick this first, you build around it, you want to try and protect it a little bit. Do not put her into combat, just win off of the soldiers, or the clerics, I'm sorry. She will get ginormous and be awesome. This is a extremely powerful card. Always Watching is a 3-mana enchantment, rare, double white and colorless, or one of any color, I should say. Non-token creatures you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance. We pray to Avacyn on high. On snow-white wings fearless you fly. Keep safe our souls, keep safe our lives. May angels watch us from the skies. Children's Prayer. Please don't kill us, Angel of Avacyn. Just don't come and steal our candy and then murder us in the night. Always Watching. That's creepy, by the way. This card's a bomb. You're going to pick this in limited all the time if you're opening it, or if you're in white when you open it. Otherwise, you could probably let it go. But giving every card, every physical creature card that you play for the rest of the game +1/+1 in vigilance is pretty devastating. It doesn't matter if you're playing the control decks or the aggressive decks. That is an ability you want on pretty much every creature you can have. It just kind of skews the game into this weird direction where it's like, well, this creature was supposed to be a 3/2 or a 2/3, but now it's just a 3/4. So it just interacts in all these different ways with all the other opponent's creatures. So it's hard for them to test every single interaction of how this card works with everything, but it's very good. It's very, very, very powerful to just have a blanket effect like this on your entire team that's static, and you don't have to keep up paying mana or equipment. It just happens as soon as you play your guy, and it's on him. So pick it early, pick it often. It probably won't see play in standard. It's not really, you would need some sort of tap effect on your guys for it to take some sort of advantage. So I don't really see it, but enjoy it unlimited. It'll be fun. All right, let's look at this terrible card, Angel of Deliverance. Oh, this is the promo card. Oh, that's not great. So this is a gigantic 8-mana 6/6 rare angel flying. She has Delirium. If you have Delirium, and whenever she deals damage, she may exile target creature an opponent controls. So the problem I have having with this card is that it's 8 mana. that it is a 6/6 flyer for 8 mana. Well, that is very big and impressive, and is the biggest flyer in the set, I do believe. She's just so much mana, and her delirium is not that impressive because you're gonna kind of like, you know, you're not gonna. The opponent's gonna play around that. They're gonna try and fog her when she's trying to deal damage, and they're not gonna attack into her. So you played a very like awkward 8 mana creature that they're going to try and dance around, but that's if you get to that, and she doesn't affect the board pretty much besides being a blocker. As soon as you play her, she's likely to get removed and you swarmed around. If you do open it, yeah, play it, but you're not going to love it, I don't think. If there's some removal, I might play it over her, but she's, if you super build for it and you build this control deck, yeah, you could get there. It's there, it's a big flyer. But look, it's like, look at these cards that they're recommending. Oh, you sure you don't mean like Angel Serenity? Like this, like this mythic that just destroys people's faces. So some of these white rares are leaving something to be desired. Like this guy, Dragonball Cavalry. He's a 4/4 flyer for 7, double white and 5. Whenever another spirit enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 2 life. And he is white and 3, put a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying into the battlefield. So he is reasonable. He's going to kind of end the game if you do manage to untap with him. And he's alive, obviously. He will let you stall out and finish the game somehow through the 1/1s. Like you can make a 1/1 while you play another 4 mana or 5 mana thing, and kind of keep going on with your day while you're gaining life and continuing the spirit stall at the ground while you bash in the sky deal. That's what you're doing with this card. It seems a little bad to me, a little small, because he's a 4/4 flyer for 7, which is not very great for a rare. That being said, if you're playing the spirit deck or white control deck, you're dirtling anyway, so there's the promo. There's more. It will kind of synergize with your dirtling deck, I guess. So it's not that bad. I feel like this format's going to be a little bit slow unless you're playing against white-red aggro or green-red werewolves. I think all the other builds are a little bit slow. Maybe the white-green kind of beat you up build. Bygone Bishop. Flying 2/3 for 3, white and 2 colorless. Whenever you cast a creature spell with converted mana cost 3 or less, investigate. So this card's a bomb. You're going to want to draft this every time and play it, and it's very close to being standard playable. It's a little bit too not big enough, or just cracking clues in standard. We'll see how good that is, but in limited, it's a solid body. 2/3 flying for 3 is beyond acceptable, right? That's exceedingly good, and you're gonna get clues off of every other creature you play is 3 or less. There's really no downside to this card. It's kind of all upside. It's just like, yep, that's good, and then this is good, and so that's good and good and good. So it's very close to being standard playable. It's probably not going to get there. I could kind of see this in a deck where you're swarming and you're playing lots of things, maybe a collected company kind of deck. That could be a thing. Like, this guy loves you playing spells, but collected company, you're just cheating things into play typically. You're not just casting them, but you will eventually, so I don't know. I love it. I think it's good and limited. You're going to play the crap out of it. Please do. Draft it early. Or draft it first pick, I'm sorry. Eerie Interlude. 3 mana for an instant rare. Exile any number of target creatures you control. Return those creatures to the battlefield, or those cards, I should say, to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. The barrier between existence and oblivion is thinner than you know. So, this is the Wrath Protection card we were talking about. This is the card that's going to let decks in standard with white be able to throw things into play as much as they want. And then if they're concerned about a board wipe, then they can basically blink all their guys out of play and bring them back into play at the beginning of the end of the turn, and they're right there to attack the next turn. It's a sideboard card for that. You wouldn't really main it unless you have some, big enter the battlefield abilities that was like your deck design. You know, that was probably what you're doing on purpose. For limited, you still play it. Like, it's going to save your guys from tricks. It's going to save them from removal. You know, you can. I guess you can't really block because you put them at the beginning of the end step. In theory, you could strike out and then put them in the beginning of your end, your end step, so you could block that turn, or in your opponent's next turn. But yeah, it's better in standard than limited, I would say. Town Gossipmonger. This card is pretty good, I think. Yeah. Alright, so if you're going to play a human deck, this would definitely go in there. When we talked about the 2/2 guy, this is basically what you play right before him. He is a 1/1 for 1, a creature human uncommon. Tap him, and then tap an untapped creature you control as well, and you will transform Town Gossipmonger. You'll never believe what I heard. And he transforms into Incited Rabble, which is a red card. Incited Rabble attacks each combat if able. And then he has 2 colorless, or 2 of any color, I should say. Incited Rabble gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Rumors are sparks. Gather enough of them, and something's going to catch fire. And he turns into a 2/3, which is the most important part. So yeah, this card's a boss. This will be played in standard, I think, in definitely constructed and definitely limited. I think you're playing this as well a lot. This goes in the aggressive decks. You're not really playing this in the control decks, obviously. So white-red, white-green. You're going to play this all the time. You're going to love it. Like, it's going to be a huge body for 1 mana, and it's going to deal a bunch of damage. In standard, this is going to be a thing. Like, you will see people turning this over and then swinging for, threatening 3, but swinging for 2 on turn 3, and then you won't be able to block it, so you're just going to have to deal with it. And then, maybe you... I don't know. It's just going to be very aggressive. Like, this is going to be a big guy with a big butt. 3 butt is kind of tough to deal with on an incidental creature. Because he's 1 mana, so he's just like, alright, I just need to figure out how to get a blocker down there. But 3 butt does not go down easy. I mean, that means you need to put a real creature in front of him to kill him. So, this card is for real. Look out. Okay. Also, Town Gossipmonger, I want to mention, you want to be attacking and leaving all of your mana open for fire breathing, and then they will not block because they're scared of the fire breathing, and then that leaves your mana to play your guys. Just for you guys that are new to Magic, that's kind of how you want to be using that. Bound by Moonsliver. 3 mana for an enchantment aura, enchant creature can't attack, block, or transform. Sacrifice another permanent, attach Bound by Moonsliver to target creature. Activate this ability only once a turn and only as a sorcery. So this is going to be the premier removal spell in white, I do believe. I think this is better than all the other ones. It's basically, see down here, it's like a pacifist and prison term arrest. It reminds me a lot of prison term. It actually reminds me almost more of Shackles. With Shackles you could return to your hand and replay it. This, it's going to remove the best creature. You're going to be able to move it around. It's going to be easier for you to move around in the white-black deck, the white-red deck. Sacrifice my devil that I played to ping your other guy, kill it, and then move it over to your other big blocker you just played, and then run you over. You pick it early, pick it often. This is absolutely first pickable removal. You pick this, you fill your deck with as many of these as you can get your little hands on, and you will never be sorry. This is probably even standard playable, to be honest. It's that good. I mean, sacrifice a permanent. It's not even a creature, it's a permanent. So you can be sacrificing clues or whatever you want and set up some crazy stuff. You can just set up the deck where you want to be sacrificing things and moving this around. You're getting value on it the whole time. So, card is Bazonkers. So in case I wasn't clear yet, pick it early. Griffs Boone. Griffs Boone is a 1 mana enchantment aura, uncommon. It has enchant creature, gets +1/+0 and flying. And then it also can be returned from the graveyard for 1 white and 3 colorless, and it attaches to a creature from the graveyard directly. It doesn't go back to your hand, goes right to the creature. Okay, so this is an interesting card. I don't think there's any other auras that do this in the set. This is going to enable your delirium by the fact that they don't want to deal with your creature that you just play this on attacking them. They're going to kill it, it's going to go to the yard, and then you're going to be able to activate delirium, and then hell, just return it later. Maybe unactive, maybe taking away your delirium, but you already played your spell, so you don't care. But in a vacuum, this card's still very good. Like, oh, we just lost our page here. We went page down. It's going to make your best creature basically a flyer every time, and they're going to have to deal with it. They're going to have to deal with either the boon or the creature every time if you're willing to invest the 4 mana to make him fly. And a flying, 5/2 devil becoming a 6/2 is not a joke. Like, you have to stick a body in front of that or you're going to die in a couple turns. So, this card is deceptively good, I would say. So, pick them early. You could probably have too many of them, but I would not let it go later than 3rd pick or so. Like, if you're playing, even in the defensive deck, they work pretty well, because they make your big dumb walls fly, which can be very relevant to block bigger flyers, Alright, Not Forgotten. This card I am not a super fan of. It is white and 1, 2 mana for a sorcery, uncommon. Put target card from a graveyard on top or bottom of its owner's library. Put a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying in the battlefield. Visit the dead and they may return the favor. So, my problem is that you only get a 1/1 white spirit out of it, and then you get to maybe get a good creature, you get to draw it again, or a spell. Drawing a really good removal spell is good, and replacing it can be good, and this could put your sorcery for delirium in the yard, yes. The problem I'm having is, you're always just going to want, like, the spell anyway, right? You're just going to always want a creature, or the removal spell, and for you to have to, like, alright, I used my resource, or maybe my opponent didn't even do anything with it, it's in play, kind of stalemated, and then you've got this card, and it's like, okay, well now I can't even do anything with it. So, I'm not a huge fan of this. I think it should even be, it doesn't look like it should be uncommon to me. This looks like it should be a common based on its power level. Who knows, maybe I'm missing something, but I'd say that these are probably going to end up on the last pick table. Open the Armory. 2 mana, uncommon sorcery. Search your library for an aura equipment card, reveal it. Or equipment card, I should say. Put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Once Avacyn returned, I hoped I'd never need these things again. Didn't think I'd dust them off to use them against angels. As you can see, he is coming out of his cellar, ready to get some demon souls, about to shoot a bear trap out of a looks like a crossbow or a bolt shooter. I don't know. Wow, crossbolt shooting bear traps in the air and grabbing angels. Looks like. So this card's pretty mediocre. It's uncommon just because they don't want to put too many of them out there. It's not good. You would maybe play this if you had 2 of the Bound by Moon slivers and you really wanted to make sure you had them all the time and go get them, and it acts as your other one to make sure you get it. You want to make sure you have something to get. You don't want to draw all your auras and equipment and then you draw this and you're boned. If you're playing the deck that needs the equipment, like you need it, then yeah, you can play this. It's fine. Nearhearth Chaplain. It's a 4 mana, 3/1 with lifelink, uncommon. It's 3 mana, exile Nearhearth Chaplain, put 2 1/1 white spirit tokens in the battlefield, activate only as a sorcery. So, 3/1 lifelink for 4, that's what you're looking at. It has its place, like in a control deck where you're trying to gain life. If you can get her through or give her flying with the Griffs Boone, like we saw earlier, it's going to help you stay alive and go long. If you trade and gain life, double trade a creature, and then you later can put more spirits in the play and gain life, it's going to do what it needs to do in those decks. So I would play this in the controlling spirit deck, or the white-black humans, or the white-green kind of controlling, and make him go long. Try to get some life out of him. Try to trade him out. Don't try to trade him unless you need to. I would just try to gain the 3 as much as you can. Maybe giving him flying is ideal, and then go from there. If you need to trade and make some spirits, then do so. But this card is very good. You draft him as early as 2nd pick, actually. Chaplain's very good. But it's definitely a high skill card, too. You need to play it well. Tenacity. How's there not a card named Tenacity? White and 3 colorless for an instant in white. Uncommon. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain lifelink until in a turn. Untap those creatures. Talia established the Order of Saint Traft in an effort to bring together the Cathars who would stand against the corruptions of the Lunarch Council. That's a lot of words. So, yeah, this card's okay. It's not crazy good. If you're playing the red-white, you know, it's like you don't really care about the lifelink as much, but growing your team is sweet. You're playing spirits, they kind of all grow and fly. It's kind of like in between decks, which is its problem. It doesn't have a place in either. Maybe like the green-white, you could make a case for this, where you're kind of playing a mid-rangey creature deck, creature control. It's just okay. I mean, giving your whole team lifelink is relevant, but the problem is, like, I guess it's okay. You can play this in the spirit deck, and then it's going to keep you alive. So that's fine. Yeah, you can play it there. You're swinging in the air, you got a ground blocker, and you're at like 10, and they're like at 20 still, or 18, and like, alright, you're going to crack in, you put them at 12, and you go to 15 or 16. So that's fine. I would have probably not picked that early. Hope Against Hope. 3 mana, aura, uncommon, enchantment. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control. As long as enchanted creature is a human, it has first strike. I have given my life to the church, my soul to Avacyn, and my heart to the people. This card is kind of okay. If you have a token to stick this on, a particular human token, it gets exceedingly better. What this really is a delirium enabler. It's like, alright, deal with my big thing, and you killed it, and now this goes to the yard, and it's an enchantment in the yard. So that's really what the idea is. It's still okay. It's acceptable. You know, you're playing your human token deck, and white-black, white-red, it fits right in. It's fine. First strike, big dudes attacking, force them to kill it, trigger your delirium. Happy days are here again. Humble the Bruit is 5 mana for an instant. Destroy target creature, power 4 or greater, and investigate. The element of surprise only works when it's backed up by a bolt between the eyes. So this card's very saucy. It's a bomb. If they are playing cards that this actually can hit, then you are going to be very happy with it. And if they don't, then you're going to be very sad and you should side it your deck. But, you know, the 5 mana is worth killing that giant thing and then having the clue when you're ready for it. You know, don't crack the clues until you're out of cards, but or when you have, you know, 2 mana to spare. But it'll do its job, and it's there to kill the monsters. That's the whole point. You kill those giant things. You draft it relatively early as second pick. Now this guy is almost first pickable. Pious Evangel. 2/2 for 3, white and 2 colorless. When Pious Evangel or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. 2 and tap, sacrifice another permanent. Transform Pious Evangel. My faith guides my hand. Okay, so just based off of this front card, imagine he didn't transform, he would still be playable, alright? Because he is a 2/2 for 3 that gains you a life whenever a creature comes into play, and himself, so he gains you at least that 1. That's like kind of a soul attendant. I guess Suture Priest down here, they have him. But like you gain life, that's going to be good in Spirits deck where you're just trying to dirtle. It's going to be good in the white green deck where you're going long, and then the white black deck, obviously, like white and black, where you want humans and you're sacrificing lots of human tokens. So that's the other thing. He sacrifices a permanent, transforms at instant speed. You can sacrifice something as they're removing it, and that's fine. He turns into a big 2/4, and whenever any creature dies, that's not him. Oh no, him as well. Sorry. Whenever him or any other creature dies. Sorry, any other creature you control dies. Excuse me, everybody. Yeah. So target opponent loses. You drain them for 1, you gain 1. This is going to be very powerful. It's an extremely powerful effect. If you're playing the token deck, this is exactly what you want. This guy is super close to being standard playable. He's just not because he's so mana requirement. He's just too much mana. but in limited, you're gonna almost pick this first pick. If your rare is bad, yeah, you'll take this guy. Otherwise, pick him second and be happy, because he is a great card. Reaper of Flight, Million Silver. Speaking of good cards, this is a 5 mana, 3/3 flyer for 2 white and 3 colorless, uncommon. It's an angel. She has Delirium, sacrifice another creature. She gets +2/+1 till end of turn. This is a throwback to Fallen Angel for you kids out there. You can look that card up. Yeah, this is a saucy flyer. Like, it's a little small for what you're paying for outright, but if you do trigger Delirium, the non-Tuco Husk basically ability she has more than wakes up for it, and any deck you're kind of going to stick her in. It's just having an instant speed sack outlet that makes your flyer 5 power is good. Like, I don't know how else to phrase that, but she looks okay on paper, but she probably will play better than I'm thinking as I'm looking at her. So, well, here's Fallen Angel, but with the bad art. The other original art's much better. Go look up that card. Fallen Angel, I don't even know what set she's from. Back in Alpha? Maybe Arabian Nights? Something like that. She's an older card. This card's sweet. You can draft this as early as first pick. If there's a bad rare, it's still very good. Alright, still on the uncommons here. There's a lot of white cards. Avalonian Mercenaries. 4 mana, 3/3, white and 3 colorless. At the beginning of your end step, if she's equipped, you flip her, where you come bearing the word of Avacyn in the Lunarch console. And then they got their guillotines, maces, and axes out. Lunarch Inquisitors, 4/4. When this creature transforms into Inquisitors, you may exile another target creature until Inquisitors lose the battlefield. We come bearing the tools of confession and absolution. You're damn right you do. So yeah, this card's a bomb. This is one of the cards that you absolutely need the equipment for it to be good. But if you do, it's insane. Like, the body is huge for what you're getting. If you can see down here, Banish the Priest kind of did this. This is the best one ever really printed that did this recently, and it's 2/2 for 3. And you can see this guy is 3/3 for 4, turns into a 4/4 for 4. And then exiles a creature. You know, it's going to be hard to remove, and it's going to kill a thing, and it's going to be great. You can first pick these guys, actually, and build a whole deck around this. If you get that equipment deck and these guys aren't being picked up by your draft, you're going to be in heaven. You will absolutely be in heaven if you're playing 2 or 3 of these in an equipment deck. Like, it will be nuts. Paranoid Parrish Blade. 3 mana for a 3/2. Uncommon Human Soldier. He has Delirium. He gets +1 and First Strike if you have Delirium. The mind is perfectly capable of creating its own monsters. Yeah, this guy's a boss. Like, he's got the right stats. He's 3/2 for 3, which is going to let you trade up if you need to on any 3 toughness thing. If you want to trigger the Delirium, you want to have that 4/2 First Strike for 3. 4 First Strike is very key. There's a lot of X4s. He's going to fit right in with, the red-white Delirium aggressive deck. He can guard on the ground in like the blue-white skies deck. So he's got a lot of use. He's a very early pick. You can pick this guy up early as 3rd pick, 4th pick, and still feel good about it. People undervalue First Strike until they're staring it down in the face, and they're like, how am I going to bluff my way through a 4-power First Strike? And they don't usually have a good answer for it, to be honest. Because First Strike just gives you that first... I don't want to say First Strike. It gives you that first response. So they're usually like, oh, I'll go in, and you're like, First Strike damage? And then they're like, a thing, pump my guy, or whatever it is. And you're like, okay, well, obviously trick you back, and then they lose out terribly, typically. Apothecary Geist. 2/3 flying for 4. 1 white and 3 colorless. Is a spirit. When she comes in, or he comes into play, he's got some medicine for you and gives you 3 life for the medicine. For some customers, the old Apothecary shop still opens its doors. So yeah, this card's solid. There's no reason you wouldn't play this in the spirit deck. It's kind of right exactly what it wants to do. It's like, alright, I already played a wall, I took some damage, let me gain a little bit of health, and then play a little tiny threat in the air that can also block some flyers if it need be, and it's going to start the damage chain. Like, it will just start pecking away at their health with the 2, and the 3 life you gain is going to shifted back in your favor. So I like this card. You don't have to pick them early, you'll see them, but yeah, you know, it'll be kind of a solid guy for your deck. Like, especially if you've got bigger things to spirit into or any kind of tribal effect with spirits, yeah, card's going to be good. If I haven't mentioned constructed, I don't think any of these cards were constructed. Yeah, I'm going to say no, no, no. No, 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 no. Yeah, nothing is constructed. You're not playing any of these cards in any actual decks that you're actually building. Dauntless Cathar. 3/2 for 3. It's 2 mana, exile him from the graveyard to put a 1 spirit into play. The harder they try to extinguish my faith, the brighter it burns in the darkness. This guy's solid. You know, 3/2 for 3 is very good stats, as we talked about before. He has an additional ability, which is, you know, nothing to complain about too much. I just realized that exiling them from the graveyard removes your delirium, so that's a little bit weird, now that I think about it. But, yeah, like, you're not ashamed to play this guy. You'll get him late, 10th or later pick. Maybe even later than that, you don't mind. But he's just a curve filler. He's there to, like, if you don't have any good 3-mana uncommons, basically. If you don't draft enough of, like, Parrish Blade, then that guy's for you. Alright, Chaplain's Blessing. We're finally to the commons, by the way, people. Almost done here. So, 1 white mana, you gain 5 life, sorcery speed. There was a time when the purpose of the church was to heal and protect. I would see that that time has returned. Alright, so this card is pretty bunking garbage. And I said bunking just so you guys know. If you want to rewind the tapes. But, yeah, you may side this in if you're playing a control deck with nothing early and you're getting run over by a super aggressive deck in a draft or sealed or whatever. And you need just another parachute cord to pull to, like, stop the damage train just because you know your bigger cards are going to get there. This can be one of those cards. So don't just throw it away because it's a gain life card and it looks crappy, because it is. If you don't have any blockers early or you can't interact with your opponent properly, it can be a lifesaver. So, you know, it just gives you that little bit of breathing room where you're not making bad blocks too early, basically, which can be very useful. Cathars Companion, 3 mana for a 3/1, white and 2 colorless. It's a Hound. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Cathars Companion gains indestructible till end of turn. Unwavering and loyal to represent stability in uncertain times. This card's fine. If you have, like, the Delirium deck, I would say this card's probably much better because you're playing a lot of spells then. You know, you're playing it, even if you play an enchantment and crack in for 3 indestructible, that's not bad. Being able to do it instant speed as a trick is obviously where it's at with this card. He's probably plays better than he looks on paper, so I wouldn't just shrug this off. You're playing white-red. This card probably is going to be good to you, to be honest. Don't pick them highly. You'll probably get 10 at the end of the draft, so. Alright. Militant Inquisitor. Close some of these other ones. Militant Inquisitor is a 2/3 for 3 human cleric common, and she gets +1/0 for each equipment you control. So, you know, she's going to be right at home in the equipment deck. You know, with 2 out, she's a 4/3 for 3, which is okay. She's not exceedingly great, but if you open the Inquisitors and you have a bunch of them and you're building the deck anyway, yep, she's great. You know, 3/3 for 3 is pretty rare in this set, so 4/3 is even better. Okay, Inquisitor's Ox. She's going to go in an aggressive, you know, white-red, white-green kind of deck. You can play her as a blocker too, no big deal. This is your real blocker. This is your go-to, by the way. If you don't have any fancy rares or uncommon blockers, this is your go-to guy in white. 2/5 for 4, Ox at common. If you got Delirium, he gains +1 in Vigilance and becomes a 3/5 Vigilance. Many fields now like Follow and Gavany, as the Oxen have been confiscated to perform other duties. Mainly pulling the guillotine train. Choo-choo! Yeah, this card's going to be on the ground and blocking up the ground so that your flyers get in while the ground, nothing gets in on the ground. That's what he does. He's going to fit into the blue-white skies, into the red, blue, white, black humans, as well as the white-green Dirtle monster deck. I would play this too. All good with Inquisitor Ox. I'm not picking them early, but they'll come around late. If you need your wall, play like 2 to 3 cards like that are going to be good blockers for you in those decks, at least, and you'll be good. Maybe 4. Emissary of the Sleepless. Speaking of mediocre blockers, this one is actually better than I give it credit for, but still poor. So 5 mana for a 2/4 flyer, and you get a 1/1 if a creature died this turn. So if you have Morbid for that turn, which is going to be very hard to trigger in these decks. Maybe the white-black spirit deck or human deck, you could do that pretty easily, but even then, I don't see it happening very often. Most likely this guy is going to be in the bottom 2% of cards you want to be drafting. He will be a 2/4 flyer for 5, which can kind of keep you alive against some of the other flyers. 4 is a big butt to be flying. Blocks a 3/3 flyer and all that. So if you have to, you may want to just remember you have this in case they have Infi flyers and you need just more interaction with that. It's not bad. You can have it for that, but otherwise you should not be playing this card. It is no good. It is too expensive mana-wise for what you get. Moorland Drifter is a 2 mana 2/2 with Delirium. It is basically a vanilla 2/2 unless you have Delirium, and then she gains flying. It's a spirit that is riding the wind. I'm going to stop reading the flavor text so we can end this sometime today. Yeah, this card is solid. You're going to play this in basically any white deck you get. It's good in the aggressive decks, it's good in the control decks. It's a bear. It does bear things. Later it flies. It's a flying bear. Rar. That's what you need to do. Doesn't matter that it's a spirit. It's great that it is, but yep, it's you'll get these 9th to 14th pick, and you'll be happy to have them. And if you can set that up, then you're gonna have a flying bears. We have Strength of Arms, 1 white instant. Target creature you control, or target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, I should say. If you control an equipment, you get an additional 1/1 white human creature token in the battlefield. This card's okay. This is going to be in your equipment deck, kind of. This is your trick with the Hound, almost. This is going to be if you have only creatures and you need some sort of way of pushing things through when the board gets messy. You're going to want 1 or 2 of these. It's not a bad card at all. It's just not great. So, if you have better cards, play them. If not, it's sometimes awkward just to have creatures. Alright, Stern Constable. This is where we're going to talk about these madness effects for the first time, it looks like, in white. 1/1 for 1 in white. He has tap, discard a card, tap target creature. I'm sure you have a story. Everyone has a story. You can tell it to the bars. So yeah, usually these 1 mana tappers or these low mana tappers in white are very, very powerful. Even the 3 mana tap guy, Jailer or Cohen Jailer or whatever was, here he is down here, yeah, Jailer, is more than adequate for what he did. But this guy, I just don't think that you're going to have enough madness cards, or you're going to care enough to want to discard them when you're wanting to be tapping things for this guy to be good. And then you're going to run out of cards, and then he's going to be bad because he's not doing anything. Yes, he taps in a pinch, but I just don't think he's going to get there, to be honest. Reusable abilities are good for a reason, because they're reusable. When you gotta make sure you're discarding cards, it's not really renewable, reusable ability. It's kind of like you're using resources. Using a full card to tap their guy for 1 turn. It's like, well, okay, that's a twiddle. Twiddle is 1 blue, tap a guy, right? Or whatever. So it's just, that's what you want to do with your card that you're discarding instead of playing it. I don't know. Puncturing Light, 2 mana, reprint, instant, white Nikolas, common, destroy target attacker blocker with power 3 or less. If you're freeze to see light, then you will feel it. This card is boss. You're going to play this in aggressive decks. You're going to play it in defensive decks. It fits in all of them. You can't really have too many of these. Maybe if you have more than 4 or 5, then it's too many. But it really can't be. It will take care of pesky flyers. This kills the unblockable blue guy even after he flips. It's just, there's so many things that this kills that you just don't care. You just want this in your deck, and it's probably close to being standard playable in some control decks. 2 mana, kill an attacker. That's fine. You know. Puncturing, or sorry, Unruly Mob. We're back in time here. Alright, so this card is actually pretty good. 1/1 for 2. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Unruly Mob. So if you respect this card, it will treat you well. As long as you have other creatures to fuel it and you're trading well, then he will grow. And once he hits kind of this like unstoppable level, he'll just stop all action on the ground, and you'll get to dictate like where that's going. And once he's ready to start jumping, he'll kind of grow out of proportion from the deal with. Oh, excuse me, everybody. I'm sorry. So you don't have to pick them early. Pick them late, like 8th, pick her later. It'll be fine. It works in the red-white deck. It works in the white-black deck. Maybe even the spirit deck. Probably not, though. We have another uncommon here. Silver Strike. 4 mana, white and 3. Instant. Destroy target attacking creature. You gain 3 life. Shield yourself with faith. Arm yourself with silver. Slayer Katsini. Yeah, this card's a boss. You're going to want this in every... this is the other premium white removal spell. Might be even better than the aura we looked at earlier. It kind of does exactly what you want in the control decks. Killing an attacker while you're dirtling and you gain life. It's going to completely set them off. You know, you kill their 4-drop, you kill their 5-drop or bigger, and you gain life out of it. So it's just kind of exactly what you want. Hopefully you blow them out with a trick. Like you block, they try to trick over it, and then you hit them with this. They're a sad panda. They're just a sad panda. Ethereal Guidance is a 3 mana sorcery. Creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. This is your Trumpet Blast. This is going to run them over in the white-blue deck or the white-red deck, where you know that's where you want to your final killing blow. This is the card you want. You don't want to play more than one, but if you have anything that produces lots of guys, lots of tokens, lots of wolves, or anything like that, this card will serve you fine. Like +2/+1 is nothing to be shrugged at for your whole team for 3 mana. You don't got to pick it early, but you know, put 1 in a token deck, you'll be fine. Inspiring Captain, similar. You know, he's really good again in token decks where you've got lots of little things. Not so much in other decks. He's a deck filler. You're not, you know, you don't care. He's good enough. You know, grow your team. Play him after you play the 6-man devil card. It's fine. Devil Form Fox, 3/1 for 2, Vanilla Fox. Yeah, this is going to go in your aggro decks. You can play him in control deck, try and trade up with him, but you know, he's not doing too much. He's just kind of like, he's going to be bad versus the devils, so that's going to be awkward. But if you're playing a control deck and they're not playing the red, then you could be straight. Or even the aggressive red, you're playing the red-white deck, you know, and your opponent doesn't have devils, that could be fun. How many more we got here? Almost done. What is it, 4 cards, 3 cards? I am ready for bed. Okay, so we have Survive the Night. White and 2 colorless, instant. Target creature gets +1 and +0 and gains indestructible till end of turn. And Investigate. So this is going to save your guy. You can also get bigger in combat. This is kind of the trick we just talked about, where you can blow them out with the spell that destroys an attacker. You do that in response to this, and they're going to be sad. It will also cancel their Investigate, so all the value they thought they were going to get will not be value. It will be negative value. That being said, this card's fine. You play this reactively to them removing your guy, and you'll be happy. And you'll also get to get a clue out of it. So, it's not terrible. It's just not great. If you have good bombs, or creatures that you really want to make sure don't die, then this is, you know, it's weird to say, right? But sometimes it's expendable creatures, and this is just okay. But if you've got bigger flyers or bigger creatures or unblockables that you just, you know, you're just counting on that creature to win the game, then this is fine. It will keep that guy alive. Okay, oh, now we have 3 more. Almost there. Angelic Purge. It's an additional cost. Oh, sorry. 3 mana, sorcery. Additional cost, sacrifice a permanent. Exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment. We must save you from yourselves. So this card's fine. You need to make sure you have permanents to sack for it to be okay. But exiling a creature for 3 mana or enchantment, artifact, that's helpful too. But removal is removal, and you're not going to complain when you remove their 8 mana, their 8 mana angel with this, 8 mana angel with this card, or even the Drakes in blue, right? If you remove them and they can't play it from the graveyard, then you're golden. This is fine. Exiling is relevant in this set. I wouldn't play a billion of these. They're going to shine in the black-white deck. Maybe the red-white deck too, so you can sacrifice some devils. Okay. Thraben Inspector is a 1 mana 1/2, and she comes into play, and you get to investigate right then. So this is your... If you need that clue on turn 1, this is the card you look to. You're building that control-y... Not an aggressive deck, this is going to go in your control-y, clue, millie, possibly mill deck, not necessarily, but just the controlling bigger end deck where you want to play clues. And she works for that. She'll run into the 2/1 initially and block it and kind of hold off the damage, and then replace herself later. So it's a perfectly serviceable card. And the last white card is Expose Evil. It is 2 mana and tap up to 2 creatures. Investigate as well. This card's actually pretty good. Like tempo, it's you're able to tap them in a turn, attack in, get the clue, crack it, maybe keep going, find some other things. The fact that it's like a tempo card that replaces itself can't be overlooked. You could play 1, 2, 3 creatures, and then they're like, all right, play blocker, and you're like, all right, tap both your blockers, crack the clue, and maybe draw another Expose Evil, and then just keep tapping all their guys down forever. It's particular. You would probably, you want these in the aggressive decks, but then you're investigating, so it's weird. You could play it in the defensive decks and build clues up. Adding cantrips to cards helps. Like, it just makes them serviceable. Like, gives you the option to tap when you need it. So, not great. Maybe a 23rd card. But, if you have Delirium, yeah, play it for sure. Stick it in. Anyway, guys, that concludes the white pre-release primer from me, OBS Plays. Thank you for joining me. I know it was super, super, super long. I hope you had fun. Talk to me in the comments about what I missed, what you think the good white cards are, whatever, what I screwed up, all that good stuff. I'm going to do the blue video next for the blue set of cards, and then we'll go through all of them. We'll probably do 6 videos altogether, and then we'll do, last one will be artifacts and lands and color and multicolor cards. And then we're going to do some standard of all the new cards. I mean, it'll be fun. So let me know what you thought in the comments. Shoot me a message or like or dislike or whatever, and I will see you guys in the next video. So bye bye.